Ferrari has lost hero. 25 years ago, Formula One lost one of its greatest ever exponents. A man whose modest record buried an impact on the sport, so profound that his memory lives on today. He combined the best qualities of Michael Schumacher, Ayrton Senna, and Juan Pablo Montoya. He was a dazzling talent, with a big spirit and desire, and a magnetic charisma that attracted millions of fans. He also possessed an honesty and honor from a very young age, traits which were to be contributing factors in his death. That man was Gilles Villeneuve, whose brief but glorious career was ended on 8 May 1982 in an horrific accident during qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix at Zolder. Like so many who have died when their star was burning brightest, Villeneuve, father of 1997 world champion Jacques, has passed into immortality as one of F1's greatest heroes. But it was not just an early death that guaranteed him legendary status. It was the swashbuckling way in which he lived his life. In a career that spanned just 4.5 years, Villeneuve won only 6 of his 67 Grand Prix. Yet his rivals were well aware of just how good he was, and that they were fortunate he spent most of his career in competitive cars. Alain Prost, whose record of 51 Grand Prix victory was broken by Schumacher, was one of them. Gilles was the last great driver, Prost said a year after the French-Canadian's death. The rest of us are just a bunch of good professionals. That remark somewhat undersells Prost, who went to have his own great career in which he won 4 world titles. But it sums up what people felt about Villeneuve. Triple world champion Niki Lauda described him as a perfect racing driver, the best and the fastest in the world. Jacques Latif, another contemporary, put it in a different way. No human being can do miracles, but Gilles made you wonder, he said. Those miracles were what forget Villeneuve's reputation, and ensure it survives to this day in the flags that still bear his image at F1 tracks around the world. Villeneuve spent all but one race of his career at Ferrari, at a time when they were going through a difficult period in their history. So it was all the more impressive that he could forge such an iconic status. Ferrari gave him 2 potentially title-winning cars in his time with the team. He would have won the World Championship in one in 1979 and he not obeyed that team orders and sat dutifully behind his teammate Jody Scheckter at the Italian GP. Had Villeneuve won the race, he would have been world champion. But he stayed behind because he had given his word and because he was sure his time would come. That time looked like being 1982, but he was killed in just the 5th race of the year. But whatever the car, whatever the race, Villeneuve could be counted on do something to take your breath away, and that's why he is regarded as highly as he is. Most stunning of all was his speed, which was apparent from the moment that he first drove an F1 car. Throughout his career, in fact, Villeneuve did the seemingly impossible. For example, in wet practice for the 1979 US GP at Watkins Glen, Villeneuve was fastest by 8.5 seconds, and at one point was 11 seconds quicker than any other car on the circuit at the same time, including Scheckter. At Monaco in 1980, driving the track like Ferrari 312 T5, Villeneuve was 5 seconds as a lap faster than anyone else during a late race shower of rain. Arguably, his two greatest victory came in 1981, when he won in Monaco and Spain, on the two thickest tracks in a car, with a chassis that was a year behind its rivals. In Canada, in 1981, he finished third, with a car that had lost its front wing in a collision. He was also famous for being reckless and having no concern for his own life. One of his notorious actions was when he forced a car back to the pits on three wheels after suffering a puncture while battling for the lead at the 1979 Dutch GP. But those who said he was crazy missed the point that he was usually attempting to achieve the impossible in cars that had no business being up where he had them. So, why did he stay at Ferrari? Villeneuve was a motor racing romantic, to whom driving for Ferrari was like living a dream. But by the first time of his death, his patience with the Italian team was wearing thin. That was much less to do with the speed of the car than it was to do with the way of felt. They responded to the incident that sent Villeneuve to his death a bitter man. Villeneuve felt that his teammate Didier Pironi had stolen victory from under his nose as they were cruising to a 1-2 finish at the 1982 San Marino GP. Villeneuve was furious with Pironi, but also with the team boss Marco Piccinini, who Villeneuve felt had wrongly backed the Frenchman. Villeneuve told his friends that he would almost certainly leave Ferrari at the end of the year. He would quite probably have gone to McLaren, whose boss, Ron Dennis, had already offered him a $3 million salary, a lot more than any other driver was earning. Had Villeneuve lived, he might have joined McLaren at the height of his power, and just as they were embarking on a period of unprecedented domination in F1. Who knows what records might they have fallen to Villeneuve? As it was, he crashed to his death, still fuming at the injustice, and so one of the finest drivers the world has ever seen never got the chance to reach the ultimate heights.